So this is an example of a sample essay for scholarship. This was for the Society of Women Engineers scholarship. In this essay, the prompt was different than the writers, any of their other Common App prompts. However, they still were able to copy paste a lot of sentences from previous essays into this. In this case, her intro paragraph has a lot taken from other essays she has written. So in this, she's directly answering the prompt, but still putting her own twist on it and making it unique. So yeah, this is just an example of one of them.
And then our third option is work study, which is pretty much what it sounds like. So it's working while you study, and it gives you a part-time job for undergraduates and graduates. And only certain schools use this option, so make sure you check to make sure they participate in this. And they try to make your jobs emphasize whatever you're studying, so it gets you good work experience while you're also taking classes. And the total work study award depends on a few different factors. So when you apply, your financial need, and then your school's funding. So undergraduates would get paid by the hour.
So the fourth kind of financial aid that we're going to talk about is financial and private loans. These are also known as student loans. So a loan is money that you borrow and you must pay back with interest. These are really important. It's really important that you understand who's making the loan and the terms and conditions of a loan. You should never sign up for a loan without really understanding what's going to happen. So student loans can come from like the federal government. There are private sources like banks and financial institutions that also give loans. So there are like four main types of federal loans. So what this means is like the loaner is the U.S. Department of Education. You owe money to the U.S. Department of Education. So the first kind is direct subsidized loan. So these are for eligible undergraduate students who demonstrate financial need. The second kind is direct unsubsidized loans, which are for undergraduate students, but eligibility is not based on the financial need. Another kind of loan is direct plus loans, which are for students of dependent undergraduate students to help pay for education expenses. And these are not covered by other financial aid. And the fourth kind of financial loan, federal loan, is direct consolidation loans. And these combine all of your eligible federal student loans into a single large loan.
One more note on financial need. We've been talking about that term a lot, but maybe not everyone is familiar with it. Financial need is just how much the college that you're applying to, as well as how much like the federal government, the U.S. Department of Education, thinks you need in terms of money. Each college, I think, has slightly different factors that it takes into account when determining this financial need. But a lot of them also have this calculator on their website where it's like financial need calculator. And if you just plug in all your like your parents' average salaries, it should give you a good interest as to how much money they can give you. Also, I know that there's like this kind of, I don't know, like vibe in Monte Vista and in the Bay Area that because we live in such a privileged area where a lot of us don't have to worry about finances, no one really applies for financial aid or for scholarships or for loans. Like honestly, money is money, right? And if you can save it just by reusing some of your college essays, why don't you should go for that? It really just takes 1 hour out of your day to figure out these scholarships so when you can apply to them. And it makes your life a lot easier. So thank you for being here, first of all, and also just recognize that there's a lot to be gained just by like looking up scholarships and looking up other options that you have, because college is very expensive. With that, not everyone can apply for financial aid, at least in America. So I'm an international student. What that means in terms of like college admissions is that I am not a US citizen and I don't have a green card. So I'm not a permanent citizen either. So in the eyes of a college, when I'm applying to one, they see me as the same person. Like they see me as someone who's living in India, basically. So there's no like differentiation between the fact that I have lived in America for most of my life, right? And so that means that because I have Indian citizenship, I can't really apply for any type of financial aid, scholarships, FAFSA. I can't fill out FAFSA because I don't have social security. I have another type of number that's given to international citizens. I also can't apply for loans. So if you are an international citizen, just keep all this in mind. You need to make sure that you're applying to a balanced list of schools and that they have reasonable tuition. You want to be really realistic with your parents and have this conversation early on about whether you can pay and afford college or not. More on this later. But another note, this is like more of a story time, but I personally did not know that a lot of American schools are need aware for international applicants. What that means is that if you apply for financial aid, that's one of the factors in that they use in making their decision about whether to accept or reject you. And basically, like, unless you're amazing, if you do apply for financial aid as an international student, and the school is need aware, that's basically an instant rejection in most cases. And so I didn't know about this. So me not knowing anything, I applied for financial aid at every single private school, and almost all of them were need aware. And so then I got an email like towards the end of February, which is already very late because March is when results start to come out, right? And one of my colleges emailed me and they were like, oh, like, you're applying for financial aid. Are you sure about that? Because we are need aware. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't even know what that term meant. So then I emailed them back saying, oh, I don't want to apply for financial aid anymore. And then I had to email like 10 schools till like 2 a.m. just drafting these emails saying, oh, my bad, I didn't want to apply for financial aid. And I don't know how effective that was. I did end up getting into many of those schools, but like, it was just a heart attack, you know, like I remember that day even now, like, oh, like I can't get into school just because I want some amount of aid and because I'm international. And you want to avoid that as much as you can. I'm sure since you guys are already like towards the late half of this process, you know that it is very stressful. So you want to alleviate your stress as much as possible. So even if you're not international, make sure that you know the terms and conditions of every single financial aid option that you have, how scholarships are factored into something, how loans work, because that'll be really, really important later on.
Yeah, so with that, this is a great time to have some reflections, especially to reflect on your family's financial situation. For a long time, you might not have been aware of your family's financial situation. So now is a great time to talk with them and see, like what's going on. And open communication with your parents is really essential. And it's important to be super transparent with them. You don't want to apply to a bunch of colleges now and then later in May realize that you might not be able to go to some of them, or that your parents won't be paying for your college. And then it's just a mess. So it's better to take the time now. And these questions are going to be a bit uncomfortable, but they're really worth it. Take the time to ask them, like, how much are you willing to pay for my tuitions? What schools would you be willing to pay for? Do I need financial aid? Should I be applying for scholarships? Really get to figure out what your status is. It's also a good way to reflect about your privilege of being a Bay Area resident, and see like how grateful you are to have the opportunity to apply to all of these colleges, because it is a lot of money and a lot of people are not fortunate enough to be able to apply to a bunch of colleges and pay the tuition. And in general, it's a great way to learn about money, scholarships, loans, all of these things that are kind of more grown-up adult life things that you're going to have to know as time progresses. So yeah, it's a great way to reflect on all of that.